All right, let's begin. This briefing is classified Obsidian. Everything you're about to see is pulled directly from the internal files of the Bureau of Cognitive Security. Our topic today, the containment of ideas that aren't just wrong, but are actively, physically dangerous.
So let's just dive right in with a question. I want you to really think about this for a second. What if an idea could kill you? And I don't mean that metaphorically, like an idea that leads to some kind of risky behavior. I mean, what if the simple act of understanding a concept could, all by itself, just end you?
This is the official definition, straight from the Bureau's playbook, document BCS 001. A cognitive hazard, you see, isn't just a bad thought. It's a pattern, a structure that rewrites your brain from the inside out. Once you get it, you can't unget it. And the scariest part? It's contagious. It can spread through language, through symbols, even just through implication.
So who on earth deals with a threat like that? Well, that would be the Bureau of Cognitive Security. Their entire purpose, their whole reason for existing, is to find and contain these lethal ideas. And let me tell you, their methods are extreme.
Take a look at this. This is one of their extraction chambers, and the design is built on a very simple, very strange principle: no corners. Why? Well, because to the Bureau, corners create angles. Angles invite geometry. And geometry can carry a hazardous pattern. They operate in a world where a simple shape could literally be a weapon.
And that paranoia, it runs deep. After a nasty incident in Taipei, 14 casualties because the shadow of a window frame let a hazard slip through, the Bureau redesigned its facilities to be completely shadowless. I mean, just think about that. They live in a world where even the darkness itself has to be controlled.
This really gets to the core of their philosophy. When they're off-duty, operatives wear gray. Their food is engineered to be flavorless. Their living quarters are featureless. The whole goal is to minimize any kind of sensory experience, to basically reduce the number of channels a dangerous idea could use to find a way in. It's survival through monotony.
So how do they actually fight these things? Let's look at a pretty typical case file. This is Peter Calloway. He's a data architect, and at a conference, he accidentally overheard 19 words of a 31-word lethal idea. The fragment took root in his mind, and it started driving him to find the rest, spreading little pieces of the infection as he went. That's when the Bureau had to step in.
This quote is from specialist Hana Voss. She's the Bureau's top extractor. And she makes it clear that this process, extraction, it isn't like surgery. They don't just go in and, cut out the bad thought. It's way more delicate. It's a kind of mental art form. It's about convincing a pattern to let go, convincing a mind that it's just not a good place for the hazard to live anymore.
So let's break that down. How does it actually work? First, they map the shape of the thought, not the content. Then, they use these finely tuned electromagnetic pulses to sort of loosen the hazard's grip on the person's neurons. And then, this is the really wild part, the extractor mentally builds a new logical structure, a different shape for the mind to hold on to, which basically crowds the hazard out. It's like fighting a ghost with another, stronger ghost.
But some hazards don't play by the rules. And that brings us to Dr. Lena Aldric and her life's work, the Aldric Proof. This is the reason the Bureau even exists in its current form. It's a threat they classify as, and I quote, existential.
Aldric's work didn't start out as a weapon. It was just an academic paper that put a peer reviewer in the hospital. By 2029, a more refined version was linked to several deaths, one of them a suicide. Then, in 2031, she cracked it. She figured out how to encode the entire lethal idea into simple conversational speech. And that last entry, 2033, the Bureau tried an extraction, and it failed. 3 of their own operators were contaminated. She'd made a hazard they couldn't stop.
So what is it? What does this proof actually argue? Well, Bureau researchers pieced it together. They believe it's a completely airtight, logical argument for these 5 points. It's not just some philosophical argument against life. It's a proof that the very act of being aware is fundamentally, structurally, an act of harm. A harm that you have a moral duty to stop.
And the effect? Her own doctoral student, a guy named Marcus Chen, after he finally understood the full argument, he left a suicide note. It had just 2 words. She's right. That's the power of the Aldric proof. It doesn't just convince you, it consumes you. And this is where everything goes critical. After years of being the world's most wanted ghost, Lena Aldric, the most dangerous thinker alive, just walked into a Bureau field office and turned herself in. She says her work is finally complete, and she has one single, simple request: She wants to speak with their best extractor, specialist Hana Voss.
So you can imagine the panic. Her surrender presents the Bureau, and Specialist Voss specifically, with this absolutely impossible dilemma. It forces them to question the very foundation of their mission.
And here's the conflict laid bare. On one side, you have the Bureau's mission: contain dangerous ideas, protect humanity, ensure survival. But on the other, you have Aldric's claim. She says she isn't spreading a dangerous lie. She's revealing a fundamental, if terrible, truth. She's not destroying minds, she says. She's offering a painful transformation, an evolution beyond our current suffering-based reality.
This quote actually comes from one of the Bureau's own top guys, a researcher named Reyes, and this is the fear that's keeping them all up at night. The terrifying possibility that the Aldric proof isn't just a flawed, deadly argument. What if it's a fact? A fact so profound, so alien to how we think, that the simple act of understanding it is lethal. A fact that kills. And so we're left with this, the central, burning question of the Bureau's entire existence. Is their mission truly about protection? Or is it about control? Are they shielding humanity from a dangerous lie? Or are they just enforcing ignorance because the truth is simply too much for our minds to handle? The Aldric proof isn't just a threat anymore, it's a question, and it demands an answer. Briefing concluded.